Hi everybody. This is a little pop-up. My name is Ryan, and I am in New York this week. I think some of you may have come with me across the Brooklyn Bridge yesterday, and I hope that some of you are getting excited to take the New York City Women's History Tour with me, which starts in about 30 minutes. Because I am very excited to give that tour to you. But I just wanted to do a little pop-up in the meantime because I happen to be down here by Bowling Green Park at the bottom of Manhattan Island. Hi, Rebecca. And I ran into an old friend of mine, hi Sandeman's Live, that I wanted to tell you about because she is actually one of my favorite women that I get to talk about in New York City. And I'm not going to be able to talk to her. I didn't figure out a way to smuggle her into my women's tour that I'm going to be doing later on. So I thought I'd do a minute on her right here while I have your attention. Hi, Rebecca. So let me flip you around here and I will introduce you to Miss Manhattan. We are in front of the Alexander Hamilton Customs House, which is now known as the National Museum of the American Indian. And it is this gorgeous building from 1907, this neoclassical building, which was a customs house when that was one of the main sources of income for the US government. Hi, Diana. Thanks for being here. And so as a customs house that was dealing in shipping, there are 4 giant statues out in front by the same sculptor who is best known for the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C., but in this case, he is doing 4 different trading continents, the 4 most important at the time, which is the beginning of the 20th century. So here we have Asia, and you can see there's some nice detail, a little bit of racism, like all of us in 1907, but there is a Buddha statue in her lap. She's standing on some skulls because they viewed that society as very barbaric. And then a beautiful Asian woman. Here we have North America. And North America, of course, gets to be young and prosperous and dynamic and striving forward into the future. Daniel Chester French was the real deal. Yeah, quite a sculptor. Amazing. And the Native American is looking over her shoulder, begging for a little recognition. You have the sheaves of corn representing the plenitude of the land here. You have the wheel of progress spinning down by her left foot. And she is surging forward into the future where she will take over from Europe, who is instead a little more regal, a little more relaxed, leaning back, comfortable with her position in the world. You have a little piece of hi Adriana, you have a little piece of a ship that she is standing on, representing, of course, the various shipping empires in Europe. She is wearing a crown representing the various monarchies, and then she has books and a globe under her left fist, representing wisdom and empire. And then finally, the most mysterious and still sort of asleep to the world is Africa over here. You can clearly see the Sphinx and that sort of Moorish figure that is behind the Sphinx. And they see, of course, Daniel Chester French, a great sculptor as he was, does portray Africa as being sort of savage as well as Asia. But the thing that I wanted to tell you about, which is a maybe little known secret, is that if you look closely at the faces of North America and Europe, you will notice that they are incredibly similar. So similar because they had the same artist's model pose for them, and she is who I wanted to tell you about. Her name is Audrey Munson, and she is the model that posed for 13 different statues around New York City. Some of the famous ones are these. If you go up to the public library, you will see she is Beauty, where there is an old man who represents truth, of the pairing truth and beauty. And Audrey Munson is also the memorial to the battleship Maine up in Columbus Circle. The list goes on. And she's got a great story. She is from upstate New York. She was scouted by a talent scout as a model as a teenager. She moved down to New York City. She lived with her mother, who was divorced, in a rooming house for women here in the city. And then she became a worldwide sensation. She posed for hundreds of sculptures with artists from all over the world. She made 4 different silent movies, none of which are available now, but those were pretty successful. And people loved that she had this great acting ability. Like, for example, the difference between America and Europe. You know, America is young and vibrant. Europe is stately and regal. So she could take on these different characteristics that the sculptors wanted to portray. She also had a pair of dimples above her bum that were very popular to portray. You can see that if you go up to the public library. And unfortunately, after that, she becomes a little too old to start modeling her, or to keep modeling. Her popularity wanes, and she moves back upstate with her mother. They run out of money, and she is scandalized in this small town because all of the people assume that she was running around, hanging out with artists, that she was involved in all kinds of tawdry affairs. They know that she was a nude model, and so she is ostracized. She goes into a depression. Eventually, her mother puts her into a sanitarium. She doesn't know what else to do with her. She can't afford to take care of her. And Audrey Munson lives out the rest of her life in an asylum, which wouldn't be so tragic except that the rest of her life is a really long time. Audrey Munson dies at the age of 105 years old. And so she spent the last 68 or something years of her life in this insane asylum. But the one tiny silver lining that we have to that story is that every once in a while, it is rumored that she would escape from the asylum. She would cross the 4-lane highway. Near it, she would go to a local bar, and she would have a glass of white wine and regale whoever would listen with stories of when she was the most popular model in the world, and when she traveled, met incredible artists, and was beloved by the world. Now, naturally, if you were in that bar listening to a woman tell you those stories, you might say, okay, 90-year-old lady from the sanitarium, I'm sure you were the most popular model in the world. But it was true. And not too many people know it, but now you do. That's the story of Audrey Munson, the American Venus, Miss Manhattan. So next time you're in New York and you see these statues, or the one up in Columbus Circle, or the one at the public library, remember Audrey and picture her laughing over a glass of wine. All right, that's my story. Thanks, Diana. I'm glad you all could make it. Hope you enjoyed the pop-up, and hopefully I will also see you in about a half an hour. I'm going to head a little bit uptown, and we are going to talk about some more incredible women, some of whom were appreciated in their day, some of whom we have to make up for how much they were not appreciated by appreciating them double now, and we'll have a good time. All right, thanks guys. Adios.